Have you ever felt like you're just standing on the sidelines of your own social life? Like everyone else got handed a script that you somehow missed? Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We are diving headfirst into the uncomfortable, but honestly deeply empowering mechanics of social selection. We're going to unpack exactly why you might feel left behind or overlooked, and most importantly, how to completely flip that script. Let's just jump right in, shall we? Why does nobody ever choose me? Look, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, we've all had this silent, persistent question echoing in the back of our minds at some point, right? It kind of creeps up on you. You're constantly overlooked as a romantic partner, or you suddenly realize you aren't anyone's absolute favorite person, or maybe you notice you're literally never that first call friend. And over time, that isolation, it stops feeling like just simple loneliness. It starts feeling like cold, hard proof that something is fundamentally wrong with us. But as we're about to see, that feeling is honestly a complete illusion. So let's start with section 1, the false explanations. When this kind of deep isolation sets in, we naturally crave a reason for the pain. It's human nature. But we usually fall into one of two incredibly damaging myths to explain it away. On one extreme, you convince yourself you're inherently flawed, that you're just fundamentally broken and, unlovable. On the other extreme, you build this massive defense mechanism, telling yourself that the rest of the world is just a bunch of shallow people who simply don't understand your unique genius. But guess what? Both of these are completely false. They're just stories we tell ourselves to avoid looking at the actual mechanics of how relationships are formed. The truth is way simpler than either of those extremes. Which brings us to section 2, the uncomfortable truths. Okay, so if it's not some fundamental flaw in your DNA, what is it? Well, sometimes the problem is entirely environmental. Think about your routines for a second. The exact same school, the same workplace, the same tiny social circle. Listen, if you stay for years in the exact same environments where people just don't naturally connect with you, the outcome is not going to miraculously change. It's literally like planting a seed in the wrong type of soil and then getting mad at the seed when it doesn't grow. The reality here is you probably just haven't met enough people yet, or you simply haven't put yourself in the right rooms. Now, here is a hard truth we all have to face, and it's a big one. People don't choose potential. Let that sink in for a second. People are not drawn to the idealized person you believe you could become someday in the future. They don't fall in love with your unexpressed intentions or, the great person you're silently planning to be next year. Because they can't. People cannot choose a version of you that only exists inside your own head. They can only choose the reality they're interacting with today, right now. They're responding to how you speak, how you carry yourself, and how you make them feel in the present moment. Those tangible, real-world behaviors, they matter so much more than most of us are ever willing to admit. All right, moving on to section 3, the mechanics of connection. To truly understand how connections are built, we have to face something most people desperately want to avoid. If you hide away, if you never put yourself out there in places where people can actually meet you, yeah, you successfully avoid rejection entirely. Congrats. But the incredibly steep cost of that safety is guaranteeing that nobody will ever truly see you in the first place. Sure, the world can't reject you, but it absolutely can't choose you either, because it never even noticed you were there. If you want to be chosen, you have to pay the tax of discomfort. Being seen requires doing things that feel, frankly, pretty uncomfortable. It means intentionally making an effort and actually talking to people. It means allowing yourself to be totally awkward sometimes. It means getting rejected. And crucially, it means meeting people who just don't click with you and actually learning from that experience instead of just letting it defeat you. This right here, this is the required cost of entry for any genuine human connection. Let's look at the sheer math of exposure for a second. 50. You might literally have to meet 50 different people before you finally find someone who truly clicks with you. I know, it sounds exhausting, but it is entirely normal. It's not a sign of failure at all. It's just the statistical reality of finding true compatibility out there in the wild. The only reason that high volume of attempts and rejections feels so incredibly lonely is simply because people hide the process. Almost everyone hides the awkwardness, the terrible failed dates, the unreturned texts, all the rejections. They only showcase their successful final connections to the world. So what happens? You end up comparing your messy, behind-the-scenes process to everyone else's polished highlight reel. Do not let that illusion trick you into assuming you're somehow broken.
Okay, let's wrap this up with section 4, the action plan.
It is time to shift from passive waiting to active participation. Here is your literal blueprint. Step 1, move. Intentionally walk into rooms you normally wouldn't enter. Step 2, step into conversations you'd usually shy away from. Step 3, actively work on improving the way you communicate so that the version of you people experience actually matches that awesome version of you in your head. And finally, step 4, build a life that people feel curious about. When you do these things, a much higher volume of new people can actually experience who you genuinely are.
Because the absolute truth is being chosen is almost never an accident. As you increase the number of people who genuinely experience the real you, the odds naturally shift in your favor. The more people who experience you, the higher the chance that someone will naturally connect with you. Slowly but surely, the exact same world that once felt like it was ignoring you will start responding entirely differently. But it all starts when the way you show up changes.
I'm going to leave you with this final, vital realization to take away from this explainer. The moment people start choosing you usually comes right after the moment you stopped waiting to be chosen. So, I have to ask, are you going to keep staying in the exact same rooms, waiting for magic to happen? Or are you finally ready to step into the uncomfortable unknown, pay that tax of awkwardness, and actually be seen? The choice is entirely yours.